The Flash issue 68. This is Joshua Williamson writing, of course, with Scott Collins on the art. This is the next part of this greatest trick ever arc, whatever it's called.
Greatest trick of all.
There you go. It was something like that. I ballparked it. It was fine. So, yeah, Barry gets taken to Iron Heights, where James Jesse has. It's basically his base of operations. He's got his like happy machine that he's making people walk through.
Yeah.
It's not the only way he's doing it, but it's the way he's like targeting specific people.
And then Barry does remember him now.
He does, yes.
So it just felt weird, given where we left off last issue. He's like, oh yeah, this guy, I remember him now.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that. I like that it's taken James Jesse's taken. Here's my issue. I love Josh Williamson. He's one of my favorite writers.
Oh, we know.
Right. Trickster's coming off as Joker Jr. here, and it kind of irritated me a little bit. Like,
yeah, that's what you're saying.
Get your own aesthetic, bro.
Do you know what?
Like the
funny?
Funhouse Carnival thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the carnival thing. I like that Barry's just faking that he's happy. He's just pretending to be all smiling and happy, and that's cool. And he speeds around. He tries to get Commander Cold, but the big twist of the issue is that Commander Cold's already been like taken over with the happiness. So Commander Cold betrays him. And we end the issue with, he's tied up, and I immediately thought, well, Barry can phase through things, so this isn't going to be a problem. And he immediately goes, hey, this is going to hold me, and he phases through it. And then the final page, the reveal is that Trickster, to neutralize him, has cut off his legs.
Is it bad that I laughed when I got to this page?
Oh, I laughed. I thought this was hilarious.
Yeah.
And
I did too, and I don't know if it's supposed to be funny in the way I found it.
But I think it is, because it's the Trickster.
Yeah, I think it's intentionally meant to be kind of darkly funny, right? Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going to get his legs back, because we're not going to have legless Flash.
Well, they were never.
forever. Yeah.
Speed Force, bro.
Yeah.
No. They're never gone. He's using the Sage Force. This is all in Barry's mind.
Sure, I can see that.
He's tricked Barry into thinking he has no legs.
But here's the thing. I love this cliffhanger because it's so like out of nowhere. I never saw this coming.
Yeah.
Because the page before, I was literally going, he can just phase out, and then you see that final panel of him like he's as if he's fallen over. Yeah. And like, what's wrong? What's happened? And you turn the page, and Trickster's just laughing with a chainsaw, and Barry's got stumps where his legs are supposed to be.
I want him to try super speed on the stumps. Is that so wrong? Also, Trickster, he can make whirlwinds, all right, with his hands.
That's true.
He ain't gonna stop my boy the Flash.
That's true. He's just in shock. Barry's in shock. Once he gets over the shock, he'll start doing little floating things with his whirlwinds and all sorts.
Bold choice on Williamson's part to make this the cliffhanger.
I
appreciate it.
I love how insane this ending is. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I laughed. I got there, and I wasn't just reading the ha-ha-has. I'm sitting there at work, chuckling to myself.
Do you know what this was? This to me, this was Evil Dead 2. That's what this moment felt like. It felt like an Evil Dead joke.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I was getting from it. I don't know. The issue, I didn't like the issue as a whole as much as last issue, I don't think, but it was still a solid segment of the story.
It was fine. I kind of wish it wasn't playing into the forces as much. I thought I thought this was meant to be a bit of a distraction, a break from that.
Yeah, but see, I like that James Jesse's figured out how to weaponize them.
Well, see, I don't need everything to be, oh, we've got the forces. It was okay for the Trickster to just do a thing.
Oh, sure, but I don't mind that he's just using it as a tool, because it still feels different from the first plots. It's just that's what he's using to do his trick.
I get that. I'm just a bit burnt out on them, I think. So when it started talking about the forces again, I went, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, where's Detective Burns? Because the last time we saw her, she was with Captain Cold, or Commander Cold.
That's a good question.
Right?
Yeah, and Kristen's shacking up with James Jesse. Obviously, she didn't seem. I don't think she knew who he was before this.
Which I kind of like too, because he got in there, and that's the greatest trick. And then there's the old saying that the greatest trick the devil made, or the greatest trick the devil of old, was convincing people he didn't exist. Like, despite how you feel about religion and whatnot, that's a great quote because it fits like here, right? Like, no one's assuming Trickster.
It's a great quote because it's applicable to this comic book.
Yes. Yeah. You know that fantasy stuff, right? Like, as I was reading it, they go through the machine. I was like, "There's no way it got Barry. He can phase." And then you see him. He phased through it, and then he, puts his acting chops. I like the fact though that if you have a super strong emotion like the Warden, it still pops through occasionally.
Yeah, he kind of breaks out of it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, because he is the angriest man alive.
Yeah, well. But yeah.
Yeah.
He'd make a great Red Lantern.
He would.
He would. I feel like him and the Wall should get married. I feel like they're a couple made in heaven. Well, hell.
Yeah.
They're both so angry and deceitful. So, are we giving the Flash, Connor?
6.
Matt?
7.5.
I'll give it a 7. Straight 7.